7 years into the new millennium, the most powerful nation on earth wrestles with its problems. Nearly 300 million Americans tax an aging infrastructure. 250 million vehicles of every description elbow for space on our highways. Environmental concerns of the 1990s have become 21st century priorities. And yet, incredibly, reliance on the automobile throughout most of North America not only continues, it accelerates, except where logic prevailed. On the Florida Peninsula, the Florida Overland Express sprints along the eastern edge of a rejuvenated Everglades. The Fox, the nation's first high-speed rail system. Barely 30 minutes out of its modern passenger terminal within the Miami Airport complex, the Fox will arrive in Orlando an hour from now. Less than 60 minutes from its Orlando departure, the Fox will breathe the still morning air of Tampa. Among the 300 passengers, business travelers, families, students, and tourists, some are just along for the ride. For them, the Florida Overland Express is the destination. The history of Florida's high-speed rail system has been well documented. Before the turn of the century, in the 1990s, the Florida Department of Transportation presented an innovative plan to make the system a reality. The idea was to create a long-term partnership with the private sector to establish an easily expandable, practical, maintainable, appreciating asset, a safe, comfortable system to immediately connect Miami, Orlando, and Tampa, and soon after, Jacksonville. Eventually, other business, tourism, and population centers would be included. It was to be an efficient system, publicly owned, privately built, and operated. The private sector partner was chosen. It was the Florida Overland Express Group, a consortium comprised of 4 of the most respected names in transportation, construction, program management, and infrastructure. There was Fluor Daniel, the largest publicly traded engineering and construction company in the United States, with unquestioned worldwide management and maintenance capabilities. They were responsible for Miami's Metromover and more than 290 other significant projects throughout the state of Florida. There was Odebrecht Contractors of Florida, civil construction experts in 21 countries on 4 continents, responsible for the expansion of Dade County's mammoth Golden Glades interchange, one of the largest and most complex interchanges in the world. There was Bombardier, a world-class manufacturer of transportation equipment and the largest provider of rail cars in North America. It was Bombardier that manufactured and supplied rail cars for the newly expanded Tri-Rail and the Tampa Airport People Mover. And there was Jacques Alstom, an internationally acknowledged leader in the field of energy and rail transport, developer of proven TGV train technology, utilized in creating the fastest, safest passenger trains in the world. That was the team in 1995. It is still the team in 2007. And just look at what the Florida Overland Express Group has created and maintained.
Dad, the shuttle's here!
Things are different in the year 2007. There's a greater awareness of how costly it is to maintain a highway system. We still drive cars, of course, but we drive them less. Intermodal connections, like the Fox's own door-to-door shuttle service, have made the automobile just another travel option. Other passengers arrive in clean, modern train stations via newly expanded bus and light rail systems.
How's Dylan?
Great, he says hello. So listen, as soon as we get on the train, we're going to fire off some faxes, and then we'll have some breakfast.
How about breakfast first? I fax better on a full stomach.
Okay, we'll make the dining car our first stop.
Oh, let's go.
Great.
Almost there, guys. All right, here we go. Almost on the thing. All right, let's get going. Woo!
Bags are checked curbside and are automatically routed with you to your final destination.
Thanks. We're
And
looking
that's
forward.
particularly convenient if you're making an airline connection.
Yep, that's right. Orlando. Check it straight through for you. Thank you.
Wow. Awesome. Is Grandpa going to be on the train?
No, honey, but he's waiting for us in Orlando.
Is he going to take me fishing?
I think he just might do that.
Now arriving on track 1, the Florida Overland Express from Tampa and Orlando. Arribando en el carril número 1, el Florida Overland Express de Tampa y Orlando.
Yeah, businessman.
You know, I don't know a soul in Miami. I just like to ride this thing.
Hey man, don't even worry about it until we're north of West Palm Beach.
Wait a minute. That means that I have less than an hour to try to figure out how to tell my parents about those grades?
Well, if you had a 4.0 like me, you'd have nothing to worry about.
That's right. Get out of here. Nobody invited you.
Passengers for Orlando and Tampa, please prepare for boarding on track
Mom, the train's here. Come on.
Come on, guys.
受かったから行こう。
切符を買うのにどこまで行ったの？
あ、一番近いATM まで。
どこかすごい。
Let's get going. Yeah, in a little while we're going to get a train's eye view of the Everglades. Come on, sweetie, let's go this way. Let's go, all right.
Watch out for the alligator.
Oh, I think the alligator's better. Watch out for you. And come on over here and sit on this side. Where are you? Get over here now.
Hey, why don't you color in right over there?
That looks great.
Wow, I got 1,500 points.
All right, good boy.
Done.
Is Mickey on the train?
No, honey, but he's waiting for us in Orlando.
Mike, don't wander too far, okay?
Okay, Dad. Excuse me.
But I think I can figure this out.
Hi, I'm Mike. What are you doing?
Hi, Mike. It's a little hard to explain.
Looks like a computer modem to me.
Think you're pretty smart, little man, huh?
Looks like you're trying to download a GIF file from the server through an ISDN fiber optic link.
Like I said, I'm downloading this GIF file.
In the past 12 months alone, more than 5 million passengers have enjoyed the speed, convenience, comfort, and safety of the Florida Overland Express. Electric power moves the Florida Overland Express quickly and efficiently along its new state-of-the-art network of tracks. Train and track noise is kept to a minimum. There is no 24-hour highway roar, just the occasional whoosh as the train glides by. The right-of-way uses just a fraction of the land required for new highways. Special pass-throughs have been created for wildlife, while unobtrusive fencing keeps them safe from passing trains. And how does this new system affect the roads that cross its path? Actually, not at all. There are no automobile crossings anywhere along the train's route. Roads over or under the tracks keep automobile traffic moving smoothly, and raised tracks allow for undisturbed boat traffic along Florida's waterways.
Hi, I'm Mike. Are you someone's grandma and grandpa?
Yes, we are. And there are 6 other someones waiting for us in Orlando.
My grandpa's waiting for me at the station.
But while the Fox prides itself on its quiet presence, its impact on Florida's economy has been anything but. Construction of the system in the late 1990s and the first few years of the 21st century created thousands of new jobs for Floridians. When the system started running, additional jobs were created, on the trains, in the stations, and in the construction of intermodal transportation systems that link the Florida Overland Express to airports, seaports, and most important, to the homes and businesses of Floridians everywhere.
これ上に上げてくれる？
はい。
ありがとう。
Hi, is this your first time on a train?
ごめんね、私英語喋らないから。
Yeah, it's my first time
あ
too.
りがとうございましたと思うけど。
Hi.
And then there are the tourists. Not only has a high-speed rail system enabled more tourists than ever to see more of Florida than ever, it has become a tourist attraction in itself. If Florida's high-speed rail system had been built without negative impact on the state's sensitive environment, that in itself would have been an accomplishment. But its positive impact has been undeniable. As an attractive alternative to auto travel, the system has helped improve Florida's air quality and lessen the need for highway construction. A new levee was built along the edge of the Everglades to help the Water Management District fulfill its mandate to protect the fragile environment. The levee was able to accommodate the tracks, and the benefits continue to grow. Water management groups were able to maintain freshwater within the delicate ecosystem and keep saltwater from leaching into the glades. The levee also slowed the encroachment of runaway development and served as the perfect platform for the longest new bike path in North America, the Eastern Everglades Bikeway, nearly 60 miles long from Miami to West Palm Beach. The arrival of the Fox created even greater awareness of the Everglades by exposing its grandeur to millions of awestruck passengers. Suddenly, the Glades were everyone's concern. The Fox was a perfect match for the environment. Clean, swift, and remarkably quiet.
Do you know why this train is so quiet?
I don't know. Do you know? Yeah, sure. It's because
It's the continuous welded rail.
Tickets, please.
Oh, yeah. Here you go. Here you go.
10 years ago, a high-speed rail system for the state of Florida was just a dream. In other parts of the world, the system was a reality. France had one, England and Belgium had one, and Korea's was already underway. Germany had one, and so did Japan. Spain, Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands were also reaping the many benefits of high-speed trains. Today, Florida alone among the 50 states enjoys the Florida Overland Express. And you have every right to ask, who paid for this transportation miracle? Who made the investment of billions of dollars in Florida's future? It was a unique partnership of private and public investors. The Florida Department of Transportation treated the proposed high-speed rail system much like a highway project, except that private investors would bear much of the financial responsibility. Private sector expertise brought FDOT's vision to life by designing, financing, building, and continuing to operate the Florida Overland Express. Even though the infrastructure they built, this continually appreciating asset, is owned by the state of Florida. And the state's part of the partnership? Initially, Florida reallocated just a small portion of its annual transportation budget. Dollars derived from existing gasoline taxes and other transportation revenues. Dollars that were already earmarked for Florida transportation. By any standard, this was a sound public investment. The expertise and financial stability of the Fox Consortium members brought our high-speed railroad up to speed. The Florida Overland Express has been a financial success for the state and the residents of Florida. It has generated steadily increasing revenues and has provided a consistent flow of income to the state. By making an investment in the least intrusive form of modern transportation, Florida found the way to keep the state an attractive environment for its residents and for economic growth. And now, in the year 2007, while the rest of North America examines the success of the Florida Overland Express, the fouling of our air and increasing demands on our highway system continue. Except in Florida, where logic prevailed.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome aboard. We have some technical difficulties over here. I hope you can hear me well. We are here. All right. Let me go ahead and fix up the chat over here so you guys can go ahead and see what is going on in the chat. Hello, everyone. All right. Hope everyone is having a great and wonderful weekend. I hope you're all doing well and had a great week and many more to come. So we got a couple of things here to catch up on. So I know last week was a little bit of a hectic week, so it was hard to catch up onto that. But we will catch up on several news items that we have over here, as well as some new things that have come out this week. All right, welcome, Osman. Welcome aboard. Hello, Starforce. Hello, Julius. Hello, Hyokim. Hello, Greg. Hello, everybody. All right, and guess what? We also have with us tonight a special guest back on board. I believe Ruben is on. Hello, Ruben. Can you hear me?
I can hear you pretty well. Can you hear me pretty well?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear. It is a nice mic you got on there.
Oh, yeah, I finally invested in some hardware and into a better internet connection. So I'm all here. I'm all ears, and I'm all here with you to talk.
Fantastic. Yes, we are doing well. South Africa says hi. I hope you're doing safe over there, Julius. All right. Hello, Mohammed. Hello, Akshar. Okay, FR said he had a bad week. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope tonight you're going to have a good night tonight, okay? That's all we can hope for, right, man? So that's all we can do. Today, what do we have for drinking today? Water with lemon. So that's always a good hack that you can go get at any restaurant, and that's a free drink that you can always get. Mostly because I'm just, trying to keep a dry spell over here and stay off of some alcohol for a little bit, but that's all right.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm trying to get a little bit back more on alcohol as tomorrow I have some safety functions to do, so you better do them sober and not drunk. That's where they belong.
Yeah, and not doing it while you have a hangover or anything like that. All right, so today we're going to go over a couple things that are going on. Three main topics that we have to go on today is what is going on with Brightline over in Universal, as well as the battle on Capitol Hill for the infrastructure bill, as there's been a lot of drama going on, as well as Elon Musk's boring company, because we know what's going on over in Las Vegas. It's going to dig a hole. It's going to dig a hole that you can't really get out of for a lot of cities. That's the problem with that. So, what's going on over here? So we talked about this, of what is going on in Central Florida for Brightline to move ahead with its high-speed rail, passenger rail system in the area. Now, we already have it approved over to the Orlando International Airport Station. It is now trying to get approval to go over not just to Disney World, but also into Tampa. So that's where we're going on over here, is that Universal is trying to propose a path for Brightline. And that's been a bit of a problem. I know we've talked about that here, and a lot of you guys disagree with that path. Not only because it's going through a more residential area, but it's also not what Brightline has been intending. So that's pushing off a lot of this between either the State Road 528 area, where Universal is trying to propose to move Brightline over there, and there was another article in the Orlando Sentinel, Universal moving to derail Brightline high-speed rail route. It's more that Universal Studios is trying to get Brightline over into its neck of the woods rather than Brightline already going to Disney. And look, this is the thing of the plan. Brightline already said, we have a plan with Disney, we want to move ahead with that. But it's up to the state of Florida, again, the state of Florida Department of Transportation, to approve either plan or the other, and then Brightline has to run with what it has. So that's really the issue with what's going on. I think if my volume's a little bit too high, let me just put the gain down over here. Let me see. Test. Is my mic too high for you guys? Let me know. Just trying to make sure that it's not too high. Apologies for that, guys. Okay, there we go. All right, now we fixed that. Okay. All right, apologies for the mic gain, guys. Okay, let's see if you can hear me now. All right, like I said, we've been having some technical difficulties. For some reason, I go off for a week, and then everything starts to mess up. OBS was giving me issues, a whole lot of other things. So, yeah. But what happened was now, Brightline did get approval to go ahead and further study the alignment along the corridor. So the Central Florida Expressway Authority Board cleared the way. This was the article that came out this week on the community. I'm going to try to start putting out more articles and stuff like that in the middle of the week, as well as trying to get more videos. But the last 2 weeks have been pretty hectic, so hopefully I can get back on the ball with that, as well as trying to get out some sort of daily, or not daily, more like a weekly video or something like that. As well as getting some other things going online. Alright, good. So the audio is fine. Perfect. Yeah. So as you can see here, there's a 17-mile long path that would connect Brightline Station at MCO, which is the Orlando International Airport, to the I-4 corridor, which is where Brightline is trying to get it. Once it gets to the I-4 corridor, it can then be able to stay along the I-4 alignment over to Tampa. That's what they're trying to do. So after this, Brightline Senior Vice President Christine Kvauffer, today's resolution of support brings us one step closer to connecting Orlando and Tampa with Brightline's modern, eco-friendly intercity rail service. That's what's going on there. However, there's still a little bit of an issue because the Expressway Authority is still looking, and it's pushed back the ruling for where exactly Brightline, once between the Orlando International Airport and the I-4 corridor, where is it going there? Is it going to go through the Walt Disney area or through the Universal area? And that's really the issue over here. It's between the State Road 417 corridor and the State Road 528 Expressway corridor. That's the two routes that we're going over. Of course, we're more supportive of what Brightline is originally trying to intending to do, is to connect over to Walt Disney World via the 417 Expressway. That's their plan. Now, if the Central Florida Expressway pushes for them to go south, and there's lobbying coming down from the International Drive and the Universal Studios Orlando and all those other areas to try to bring them down over there, that's really the problem. That's what's throwing everything up in the air. If it was just one area, that would be fine. So I don't know why Universal is doing this. I think they're really trying to push for head. I mean, it shows there's a lot of demand for Brightline. It shows there's a lot of demand for high-speed rail. So, I mean, I don't know, Ruben. Where do you put your perspective on this?
I mean, it's kind of interesting. They're lobbying to get a train to their front door. It's like opposite NIMBYism. Instead of not in my backyard, it's more like yes in my front yard syndrome right now. So it's kind of interesting that Universal is basically throwing money to say, hey, bring the train line to us, whilst Brightline wants to go more to like the squiggly route down south to Walt Disney. But again, as I said in previous videos, if Brightline is going to take the southern route, there's no way Sunrail shouldn't take the northern route. They can still be a compound system. That Sunlink, Sunrail connects to Universal and to the airport and to Brightline. So if Brightline goes south, I would say put Sunrail on the northern route.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the alternative of Sunrail, and I agree with that, of having Sunrail to go down to Universal. It already makes sense because Brightline has already been making deals with Walt Disney World. It's already been out in a known secret for years that Brightline has been trying to get the trains over to Walt Disney World and has already looked at areas where they're going to put a station. This kind of derails where everything is going with Universal, because I mean, yeah, it's true. Now it's not, instead of not in my backyard, it's please put it in my front yard. Although you do have the elements of NIMBYism over here, because you have the same sort of crowd saying, this goes through a residential area. We don't want the loud trains over here. The same old stories, different day of the week. That's what's going on here. Of course, the cost of doing this is a lot more expensive, because the original cost of what Brightline is estimating to go to Walt Disney World is $1 billion. If they have to go down a little bit more south to go through International Drive and go down the 528 Expressway to Universal Studios, that's going to be more than twice the cost at $2.2 billion. That's what they're saying over here. And that's a bit of an issue. Definitely Brightline does not want to do that route. I mean, of course, they're going to, whatever they get approval for, they're going to take. But their preference is, look, we signed with Disney. We want to go to Disney. We want to go over there. That it makes sense. I don't know why this is being such a big deal, and I don't know why they have to go ahead and delay this. What is there more to think about? And this is sort of the issue here in American politics, as we can sort of look at what's going on the Hill with this too. We'll bring that up later, but anyway, I don't know. Anything else you want to add on to this, Ruben? Because I'm still kind of ticked off that it's taken this long to get this approved.
I mean, yeah, there's the issue with these kind of projects. They always take such a long time to get approved. It's mostly, I would say, this lobbyist playtime. It seems like, whenever a project is planned, they always keep like a year or two open for lobbyists to give their input into the entire project and let them play around with it a little bit. So, yeah, I hope they would approve it soon, and at least the route would be known, so they can actually start construction, because Brightline is going to run in less than a year. They're going to run to Orlando, so they need the extension then pretty fast, as it's a really fast growing railroad.
Right, and Brightline has a lot of momentum behind it, so it's really our best bet for high-speed rail and better rail transportation in the United States. Brightline does set the example. That's why it's important to get this through. Of course, some of the things, some of the complaints of people along the 417 Expressway, of course, over here. Let's see. Others have. Okay, so this proposed route will certainly have a negative effect on our critical objective, preserving the standards and beauty of this community strives to achieve and what is well known for. So this is someone out of Hunters Creek, a collections and compliance manager for the Hunters Creek Community Association. Again, this is the same sort of BS that happened with in the Gold Coast of Florida, which you have a lot of these NIMBYs. A lot of them tend to be boomers. Okay, as you can see, someone here, a 21-year resident of the community. So you can obviously tell here, 21 resident of the community. That's older than some of our viewers. A lot of our viewers living there for 21 years. So someone, a retiree or something like that, or someone like that, going over there, and they just want to be left alone. That's understandable, but doesn't mean that everything has to stop because you want to be left alone. That's not how a nation works. That's not how countries work. It's the complete opposite of what this country at least used to stand for. I don't know if it stands for that anymore, because if people like this have that much power to stop something or to at least delay it, that's the issue. So let's see. Others here said they've learned to live with truck, motorcycle, and car stereo music from the 80,000 vehicles daily on the State Route 417. But Brightline trains, many contended, would reduce property values. Here we go again, which is again false, because Brightline trains in South Florida, if it's doing the exact opposite, it's actually there's a lot of other factors into why South Florida properties are rising, but there's a lot of apartment buildings that are now putting in the area there in South Florida. Of course, we wish they would be a lot less expensive for normal people to live in, but that's a whole different issue. They pose a safety risk for derailments. Here we go again. So forget about the 40,000 car accidents that happen, especially a lot more that happen in Florida. But, in case of the odd out derailment, the stress, the mental health of students at schools near the tracks. I wonder what mental image is going through this. It's like somebody in the classroom is just reading, or writing a book or something like that, and then all of a sudden the Brightline train goes by and they're just, no, not the train. But they expect people to spurg out or something. This is silly. Near the tracks, threaten wildlife and wetlands in or near the community. It's.
I mean, about the school thing, I'm pretty sure student gets more nervous when a quiet kid says he had enough instead of a train rolling by.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger mental health issue in schools. I don't think trains are that much of a mental health distress factor in schools. This is insane. Unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't end there, of course. Look at what's going on over in the House and Senate, guys, because it just doesn't end. So we talked about this several streams ago, or for several streams. I believe you were here, Ruben. The President, Joe Biden, along with several Republicans in Congress, came up with a better bill. An infrastructure bill that instead of putting so much money into either electric car infrastructure, which, by the way, for those of you guys with Chevy Bolts, don't park it in the garage or charge it overnight, apparently, because GM says they'll explode. Though that's one issue there. But apart from that, they've taken away a lot of the I don't know how this was infrastructure, but it's basically increased Medicaid and Medicare for seniors on the reason that somehow giving half of $1 trillion to seniors would enable younger Americans to get to work. I don't know where that comes in, but they got rid of all that. They made a much more focused bill that gives a lot more to rail in proportion, and more in general. That gives a lot more to rail, a lot less to roadways than the previous iteration of the bill. And this was something that Senate Republicans were on board with. But now Chuck Schumer kind of threw a widget in that whole plan and sort of pulled the rug there and saying, "Oh no, let's wait on this bill," which the bill isn't fully fleshed out yet. Which, you know, that's sort of the problem. The problem is that the previous iteration of this bill, the much more expensive bill that's a lot more wasteful, is the one that's sort of become its own Frankenstein within the House side of Congress, which Chuck Schumer and a lot of the other Democrats in the Senate want to meld together. And this is where it's going to create a lot of tension, and then we get the same sort of thing by the time they try to pass anything. The midterms will be here and gone, and nothing will be passed. This is an issue. So let's go into this. So Senate key points: Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer plans to advance a $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package in the Senate this week, despite the fact that the final bill is not yet written. Republicans have threatened to block any effort to pass an unfinished piece of placeholder legislation through the Senate while negotiations are still underway. Schumer is under intense pressure to advance both of President Joe Biden's domestic spending packages before senators leave for a scheduled August recess early next month. Chances of that happening, I would bet, are very slim that they'll pass anything infrastructure before August. I'll be very surprised if they do, but I don't think so.
I mean, that's just speedrunning Congress then.
This is the same thing all the time. And then here we are ahead and say no against the bill that they wanted to go ahead and push through procedure, which was the bill we were all okay with in terms of the spending. But then he said this. I think this was it here? He's saying it's not a cynical ploy.
It's a significant standalone investment.
Of course
We're
it
hoping
isn't.
to change that this year.
Of course it isn't.
Nearly a month ago,
it's also tiresome, you know. First you see something, hey, nice, that's a pretty good bill, and then they say, wait, we can do something better, and they make something better. And then they go, how can we delay this? Because we can delay this, and then everybody just just gets so disappointed, and then we just go like, all right, we're getting too efficient, right? We're gonna wait another few years.
And if it's not Chuck Schumer, then it'll be Mitch McConnell saying, "Oh, there's too much in the bill. You can't put all that in the bill." And then they don't want to put anything in the bill, and then it all just becomes another giant pork barrel. And I mean, looking at the comments over here, it seems that people are already ticked off. You know, both ways. This is from Forbes. If Chuck Schumer says it's not a cynical ploy, it is a cynical ploy. How come they give all the money to criminals in prison? Blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people are upset on both sides of the aisle. And this is the thing right now in American politics. Both ways. Again, I'm a fan of neither of the parties. And it's just, by the year, I just keep getting sickened and sickened by both Republicans and Democrats because it's just two sides of the same coin. Nothing ever really happens for any of us. And it's a lot worse for us because, especially for our generation, because we make up the bulk of people in the United States now. We're the largest generation in terms of proportion of size and population, but we don't make anywhere near as much of a dent in politics because a lot of it is still concentrated in the same, the same old generations. It's not an attack. This is just a reality. Now, it doesn't mean that, once we get in there, everything is all sunshine and rainbows. The whole point of this channel is to make sure that we know the reality between infrastructure so we don't start passing dumb things like this. Which we'll get into this a little later. Elon Musk's little adventure here in Vegas, soon to come and destroy some other cities as well. But this is an issue. If it's not one side, it's another. And testing votes. So this was early in the week that Chuck Schumer announced that there will be a procedural vote for the infrastructure bill on Wednesday, and then on Wednesday he voted no on that same procedural vote that he went ahead and pushed. Being the majority leader, it's confusing. And again, he's saying it's not a cynical ploy. I can't believe that. And everybody wants help with infrastructure. It's a sad and sick issue that this is even becoming something that it's a fight on both ways. And again, you have people like Mitch McConnell saying, "Oh, I think we need to see the bill before we decide whether or not to vote for it." Of course, sort of the joke that from years ago with what happened with Obamacare, we have to pass the bill before we see it. It's a surprise, like a birthday surprise of some sort. But this is clear cut and dry. This is spending for infrastructure on several key factors in several areas in terms of not just passenger rail, but in terms of fixing the roads and bridges that we already have that are crumbling. Helping to fix our electrical infrastructure or sewage infrastructure, the basis of it. And it's not talking about all these other things of anything else that's tied into it that distracts from the main issue. And that's a problem because, again, they'll be having a vote on a bill that's not done, but they want to push the bill that's not done. But it's confusing, it's annoying, and it's sickening that this is where we're in right now. This is the area. Welcome,
Mr. Bones Wild Ride.
Yeah.
During forever.
And it just doesn't end. All right, so we have some people in the audience who, if you want to opine, you're more than welcome to come on board. The Discord link is in the description below. Make sure you join into there if you are a part of our Discord, Transport Central. You're more than welcome to come up on the stage on the Great American Infrastructure Battle and come on board. And if you have anything to say, if you agree with our points, come on board. If you disagree with our points, come on board and tell us why. This is why we're a club, guys. We come on here and we can debate all this stuff. What other infrastructure community does this, where you could just come on board and talk and discuss on a video that will be seen by thousands of other people? You don't get that. All right, so David Mitchell, a regular here on the show, is going to come on board. So we're going to invite David Mitchell. Welcome aboard.
Hey.
Hey, David, how you doing?
Doing good. Just got done with a live stream a couple minutes ago, right before I joined your.
Yeah, man. It's it's a Saturday. It's a good time to go around, get some live streams, play some games, get some pizza. It's all good.
Oh boy, hey, do you got all the links I just sent you?
I haven't been able to be on Discord for a while, man. It's just been crazy. I mean, I just got on Discord as soon as the stream started, but
Well, you know the high-speed rail plan for Charlotte to Atlanta?
yeah.
Greenville got screwed right out of it.
Oh, Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh,
look
man.
at the link. Look at one of the links I sent you.
All right. Let's see if I can bring that on board so we can all see that. Let's see. Here we are. Proposed high-speed rail line will not have a stop in downtown Greenville. Let's go ahead and get that on there.
Like, Greenville got screwed. They just screwed themselves, you know?
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt that. Let me see if I can bring it up on here.
There's still a lot of old people that live in Greenville. Greenville got a big old population, you know?
So here we are.
The NIMBYs, they just screwed Greenville. Oof. But yeah.
Yeah, I know I saw some of this. I don't know about what's going on. I wasn't that in tune of what was going on in Greenville. But let's see. It's still early in the planning stages, but it's exciting things for upstate and the region as a whole. After public input and environmental impact study, the Georgia Department of Transportation, along with the Federal Railroad Administration, has found what they believe is the best route for the high-speed rail line. Unfortunately, this article is not giving me what the actual route looks like. I'm assuming in the video maybe comes out later on over here. Okay, here we are. All right. So, all right. That's interesting. So is this the actual route? Because it looks like it at least touches right outside of Greenville. At least in the.
But Greenville is a quad city because there's another city right by it, right there called Spartanburg.
Right. Okay. So looking at here. Yeah, okay, so we go from Atlanta, Georgia, to Sewanee, over to Athens, Georgia, and then from there, Anderson, South Carolina, to the Greenville Spartanburg International Airport. So it doesn't want to... They don't want to stop in downtown Greenville, which I can see kind of where the problem is in here, where it looks like it's going from the Atlanta airport, then into downtown Atlanta. And it's stopping at the Greenville Spartanburg International Airport, and then over to South Gastonia, and then Charlotte Douglas Airport, and then to the Charlotte Gateway. Okay.
And I'll be on it. If they are going to do it that way, I could see them building a commuter rail from Greenville to the International Airport just to connect it to the high-speed rail, like having a commuter train that go out there.
Yeah, that could definitely be some sort of.
Because Greenville is getting to that point where they do need commuter rail. They do need it badly.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at it from the map over here, that looks like a pretty large area. So I mean, you're more familiar with the area than I am. Again, taking your expertise into account over here. That does look like an opportunity.
I've been to Greenville a couple of times. I maybe was born here in South Carolina, but I've only been to Greenville a couple of times. But I know because of how big Greenville is, they do need commuter rail. They straight up do need it. Like, and here, Jane, what they could do after they did done it from Greenville, like from the International Airport and stuff, to follow the interstate down I-95, not I-95, down the interstate to Charlotte, or not Charlotte, but Columbia, you know?
Right.
Because Columbia is another big city that do need passenger rail, because they only get Amtrak. Like, they only get 4 Amtrak trains per day.
Right, yeah. And I know South Carolina, of course, you have the more inland part of South Carolina and the more coastal part of South Carolina, which is a lot more people on that side. But that's where Amtrak goes along, toward where Savannah is and closer down there. So, I mean, there's several different corridors over here that need to be fleshed out. definitely the Atlanta to Charlotte one is one that everyone has been talking about for years. You have two large major cities down there in the South with growing populations, especially in Charlotte. So
Yeah,
that's...
we do got a couple cities on the coast that are growing too, like Myrtle Beach, Charleston. Those are getting big, and they're going to need commuter rail or like high-speed rail soon too. You know?
Right.
Like we're already above about 500,000. You know? We're halfway to 1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely... There definitely is a need there. Ruben, anything you want to add on to this?
I mean, I'm pretty sure almost every city in the USA above 500,000 people needs some serious commuter rail. I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, almost, I'm gonna say with that statement, almost every city in the US needs some commuter rail. Because you can't keep having that spread out, cars everywhere, get to your work through a traffic jam kind of mindset, because that's just killing your own cities.
Well, like, here what I would say, like, if you have an interstate that stop in your city and have like an outer interstate that come around and stop too, you do need rail. You trade up do it. Just because the interstate stop out of your city doesn't mean, oh, we don't need high-speed rail or like rail transit, you know?
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of balance, and then to more larger metro areas, that's where high-speed rail works, and more conventional rail speeds work in more smaller cities or going in between them. That's where it works.
Well, I got good news. I finally got my tiny house. Finally came in. You know?
I'm sorry?
My tiny house finally came in.
Oh, tiny house.
Yeah, you guys want to see it?
I mean, we can't see it on here, but I mean, send me a picture of it later. I'll definitely take a look at it.
Alright.
Alright.
Yeah, but I sent you a couple of links and stuff that I think we have nice and juicy stuff we can talk about tonight.
Yeah, tonight after the stream, I'm gonna be done for tonight, but definitely another time. But thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. Later.
Take care.
Have a nice night, guys.
All right. So next on, we're gonna have Joachim. So Joachim, welcome aboard.
Alright, Joachim, we gotta select the invitation. Alright, there you are.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, loud and clear. How you doing, man?
Great. It's a bit late here, but no, I actually just wanted to ask Ruben, have you actually been affected by the recent floods in Belgium?
I'm from the good part, so no floods, a little bit of rain.
So, I guess you're from Flanders then?
I am from East Flanders, so I'm in the clear part. But yeah, for people who don't know it, Europe has been hit with some severe thunderstorms, and some parts of Belgium, the rain fell that heavily that certain railroads got transformed into a river, and infrastructure got completely destroyed. The train got derailed, tunnel collapsed, an entire rock cliff shifted into the tracks. But I was not in that part. But yeah, things got some pretty bad here, and today again another flood happened. So, but normally everything should be reopened by the end of August, normally speaking. But yeah, I'm okay, Joachim. Thanks for asking.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I haven't been affected by it at all. I'm near the coast, so that's not really an issue.
Yeah,
but,
I've been hearing about a lot of the floods that have been happening there and in Germany too. Now also on the other side of the globe over in China, because it's been pretty bad. If it's not, it's the summer. It's what it is. If it's not a hurricane, it's a heat wave. If it's not a heat wave, it's a flood.
Yes. So I actually just wanted to talk a bit more about the Brightline and Universal issue, and I've been really having a bit of a think about it, and I think I know exactly what is going on. Disney has told Brightline that they, if they want a station on Disney property, they will have to build the southern alternative. and not go stop at Universal. And Universal doesn't want that at all to happen because it will give another competitive advantage to Disney, which Universal doesn't have, because it's going to be way easier to go to the Disney resort and don't go to the Universal resort.
Oh yeah, it's definitely competition between the two. I mean, Disney has always been the top one there in terms of how many people they get to the parks, etc. Of course, it's the larger one. Universal is more centrally located near the more popular area, but again, the problem is that it doesn't have as much as what Disney has, and they've kind of already moved forward with Brightline already on Disney's behalf to get that onto there. So yeah, it's definitely a bit of competition.
Yeah, and Universal is really, if it doesn't get a station, it has every reason to just try to kill that project, because again, it will give a competitive advantage.
All right.
But on the other side, I just wanted to say, you said that the Universal area is smaller and less tourists go to there. I think you can easily actually underestimate the size of the Universal iDrive area, because besides Universal, you have, of course, iDrive and.
Oh yeah, I never meant to say that it was smaller, but there's a lot of other theme parks right next to Universal.
And Universal is building another theme park, like they're building a third gate.
Right.
So it really has the demand for a station, but with the viewpoint of how Disney looks at it, I don't think it can happen.
Yeah, and that's
I actually think that's pretty sad, because it would be pretty great to have a direct real connection between Universal and Disney.
Oh yeah, I mean, that if you can have enough routes there that look, if anybody can be able to go ahead and say, they can have tickets to both parks. They go Universal for half the day and then take a train to go over to Disney World. That would be great. I mean, you have that in other countries, especially in Asia or in Europe. The problem is over here in the United States, if you want to do that, you kind of have to take a car, and you gotta get stuck in Orlando traffic, which is it's pretty bad, and it's getting worse. Not as bad as how Florida traffic is, but it's getting pretty bad in Orlando, especially as an influx of people start moving down to Florida. But yeah, there's a lot of demand for those theme parks, especially as the United States starts to reopen from the ending of the pandemic. There's going to be a lot more demand for it. And the sooner that Brightline can get somewhere, the better. At least getting to just the Orlando International Airport is already a big step forward.
You could always take a bus, but that would probably take 3 times as long.
Yeah, the buses too. Yeah, that's that. The buses here in the United States are it's anybody can tell you that it's not the best thing to take. It kind of sucks.
In Europe, it's almost like standard that you take the train to the nearest train station, and then you have a bus to a theme park or other attractions in the local area.
Yeah, and again, the bus systems over there in Europe and in Asia are a lot. They're cleaner, they're safer, and they're also just a better maintained system, as well as where the stops are, and they make more sense than the bus stops over here, which have a lot more politics behind it, or a lot of other factors behind what make bus stops and bus schedules really just a mess over here in the United States.
Have you actually, I recently saw a news article showing some renders of the Boca Raton station. Have you actually seen those already?
Yeah, I've seen some of them. Again, kind of similar to the Aventura station and still staying within the Brightline motif. That's definitely something we can see. We do have some comments over here that are asking when the station is going to be opening up in Aventura. I believe it was 2023, if I remember correctly, that they're going to get that. Yeah.
It probably all depends when they can get started building, because if it starts building, it will probably just take a year or so to build a station.
Yeah.
But one thing what I thought was interesting when I was looking at those drawings is that the Boca Raton station will be built with one single platform for the Brightline trains. which is pretty interesting. And another part is it seems like they will be building high-speed bypass tracks so that you can have an express service that doesn't stop at the station, and trains that stop at the station that don't impede the main line for the other trains. And that's actually a point where I've been thinking about what I thought what could be a bit of a limiting factor about the existing station designs, is that they don't really include a proper high-speed bypass track for express services that bypass Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach for a non-stop service between Miami and Orlando.
Right.
Do you actually think that will be a major issue in the future?
Right now, I think they just need to get onto that, but it could become an issue. But really, honestly, they just need to just focus on what they have right now in order to just get that going.
Yeah, absolutely. What they should be doing now is building the track to Orlando and then focus on going to Tampa.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. Just keep on moving forward. Well, thank you for coming on board, Joachim. I appreciate it, man.
Nice for having me again.
Thanks, you.
Yes.
Alright, Joachim, see you next one.
Alright, so we have one more person in the audience who'd like to come up and speak, so we'll go ahead and have him, and then we'll go into the next part of the articles over here, and we'll probably call it a night. So we'll probably have finally a sort of an hour stream here, so everybody can be able to, we can share some news, get to talk to people, and have a good night. That's what we're trying to do over here. So this will finally happen. All right. So next up in the audience is Fabsay95. Fabsay. We'll figure out how you want your name to be said, but we'll invite you to speak. Maybe it's Fabs. I don't know. All right. So Fabsy95, you are on board. Welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Good. So I'm from that region that hit hardly in Germany.
Oh man.
So that's why I have a bad week. So my other name is FR on YouTube. So
okay. My condolences, man. I hope everything is okay and your family's all right. And
I'm not hit very much, but 8 miles away. So already calculated that. So as you might know, we are working in meters, not miles and so on. So 8 miles away, it's horrible.
Yeah, I have some of the pictures up here on the screen so people can see what's going on. But yeah, it's been pretty bad, the flooding over there. I mean, look at this. I mean, whole cars that are just swallowed up. Houses destroyed. Several people have been killed. I think around like 30 or so. But yeah, it's just been awful. And this is what happens: flash flooding. I mean, it's summertime, and you can have a year's worth of rain within just several days, and this is what happens. And here's a train that's halfway underwater. Yeah, it hasn't been good at all.
So I was helping there in the region already. So I don't know if you can show the picture of Erftstadt, which I posted in. So that's 8 miles away. So really close. It easily could have hit me. So we just had some water in the riding stable here. So yeah.
Oh man. I hope you guys are able to go ahead and clean this up as soon as possible and get back to normal here, because yeah, it is devastating. And look, I'm from Florida. We've dealt with our fair share of hurricanes, destruction, and it's hard, but you just gotta pick up and get right back into it, man. It does suck the after it and the weeks after that it happens, but that's how nature works. I mean,
it's not
still
nature.
There.
So this is not a normal event in Germany. So normal event would be like rain and normal summertime. So the last 3 years we had 40 degrees Celsius. That is less low than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And now we had flooding all very rainy year. So the nature really needs that rain, but not so much rain.
Yeah.
So it's climate crisis all over the place and where they went. So
Right.
climate crisis is going in heat as well as in rain.
Right.
So per degree Celsius higher, the air can get 7% more water, can swallow the water per degree Celsius. So I don't know what a degree Celsius is in Fahrenheit, but yeah.
How many Celsius?
Per 1 degree.
31 degrees. That's about 87 degrees, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's pretty hot.
Per degree Celsius, it's getting 7% more water, and that water has somewhere to go.
Right.
So it's hit the region, and yeah. So climate crisis is on both ways on the aisle. So it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's this one very ironic thing about this entire crisis here in Belgium is that the provinces that are on risk for flooding, like if sea level rises, that it's gonna flood, those are the only provinces that weren't involved in the flooding. So the lowlands of Belgium were actually pretty okay, but everything that was higher up just got flooded. So that's a bit of irony right there, I'd say.
Yeah. I know that West Belgium had a lot of coal mines. So yeah. Coal, CO2 emissions, yeah, makes sense. So
Yeah. Hey, and I mean, you had your automobile companies over there in Germany basically conspiring to go ahead and mess around with their emissions. So I mean, they're kind of the culprits there in a sense.
So yeah, I think we are much more ahead than the US are. So we had about 50% already with renewable energies.
Oh yeah, so, no, we're when it comes to that, we're not even anywhere near close to any of that. I mean, people here just still can't let go of their trucks.
Yeah, the trucks are not a problem. The big polluters are the problem. So yeah, the car is less. A car does make CO2, but a car is less than a big container ship, for example.
Yeah, transportation is the number one source of pollution. In terms of manufacturing, I mean, our manufacturing has decreased here in this country for the last 50 years, so we're not really polluting as much in there, although our transportation sector, that's really where a lot of the pollution is, because we're just making a lot of trips that don't need to be done by automobile. If there's I mean, as we've been saying here on the channel, if there has been a better push for other modes of transportation in terms of rail transportation, that would help out a lot more, and not just only getting people around, but also helping the environment. It goes all around.
So, I just want to add another interesting concept, which is the integrated timetable. So it's a concept that Switzerland operates on. So the train stops at a certain time, and all people can go to whatever destination they want. So what do you think about this concept? Might it work for some metro system or...
So are you talking about like an actual train system that you can get on, and
train or bus system that stops at a certain time, like 3 a.m. They all arrive at one time there at this bus stop, and then people can switch from bus A to bus B.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That can make sense in certain areas. Again, there needs to be studies done to see where that works. I would have to see more into Switzerland and how they get that to work. But in the sense of if you have it connected well, so that let's say somebody going in from city A stops over in stop B, so they can go over to stop M or something like that, and somebody over at stop B wants to go over to stop Q, that they can all stop at the same time there when they arrive, and in 5 minutes all be in the next train that will go out to different directions. That does make sense. In terms of scheduling, also, I mean, the other solution to that is just having regular train schedule that, even if you miss that train, within 2 or 3 or 5 minutes, the next train will just come on the same route, and you can just be on your merry way. But that's if you have a lot more frequent services in places that are larger metropolitan areas, or let's say someplace like Tokyo. That's really the only experience I have for a large first world metropolitan area in terms of transportation, because in the United States, I mean, you could say New York, yeah, but that subway system needs a heck of a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that system of several trains at one point. It's known, we have this station in the western part of Belgium called Station of Lichtervelde. And basically the trains from Kortrijk to Bruges stop there, and from De Panne, which is a coastal town, to Ghent stop there. And basically 4 trains stop at the same time in the same train station. So people can, take the other train. And that's one of the few occasions I know where they use that system. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a city and there's a lot of, services, it's just interesting to have as short as possible transferring time, waiting time. But in more rural areas, it's more interesting to have everything connect to each other, as that would also call, transportation time.
Right. It works in different areas, so that's the whole thing. Anyway, I thank you for coming on to the show, and again, my condolences for you and the people there in Germany, and hope they can be able to build back up soon and be able to build, get back together soon.
Yeah, thank you, and have a good night.
Of course. All right. God bless you guys. All right. So, nobody else in the audience that has their hand up, so we're going to go ahead and continue and go through our second half of stories, and then we're going to go ahead and look through our last strings of comments over here and call it a night. Gramble saying, my heart goes out to the people of Deutschland. Yes, they're having a hard time over there. And again, not just over in Germany, because there's some pictures over here that I have from Zhengzhou in China. Same thing. Cause funny enough, in the week I was looking at the subway system over there, and that all got flooded up. Again, I honestly think what's going on over in China in terms of the death toll, the Chinese Communist Party does mess around with the figures to make it look like, oh, see, we had less people that died over in Europe. Don't believe that for 1 second. And again, that's sort of the problem with China, is that in communism the party comes first, not necessarily the people. But bringing it back over here to the good old United States, the Spain-based Renfe on board as early operator of Texas Central High-Speed Rail. So this came out last week. So Renfe was they already were looking at a deal to be the project operator. So they already announced the signing with the contract. So that is all set in stone. So they that's again Renfe operates the AVE system in Spain, which is probably the after China in terms of the country, the next second most extensive high-speed rail system. It goes by China, Spain, and then Japan. Spain also built their high-speed rail system fairly quickly, although probably too quickly, as many critics say, that they built too many high-speed rail stations that don't serve as many people as they should. But they're still an operator that has been in the game for a long time, and they know what they're doing. They've built similar systems and operated systems in places out like in Saudi Arabia as well. One of the first high-speed rail systems in the desert. So Renfe has established reputation for excellence in railroad operations in Spain and across the world. Texas Central CEO Carlos Aguilar said in a statement, with their decades of expertise, they were a natural fit to join our team of best-in-class global experts setting the foundation for this new jobs-creating industry we are bringing to Texas. Yeah, so exactly what I said, just detailed in another way. So we're moving ahead in that area, guys. So according to the news release, Texas officials are now focusing on final due diligence and securing funding. Once construction begins, it is expected to take 6 years and use $7.3 billion of materials sourced from 37 states across the country. So again, it's not just jobs for Texas, because it's the whole country in here that it's manufacturing for parts or for construction materials for this project. It's a lot of concrete, it's a lot of steel, a lot of electrical material also for the power lines, the catenaries. So there's a lot into this that goes into it. It's not just the shiny bullet train, guys. There's a lot that goes into here from every little piece. Brightline had a little thing that I think that they had. They had. I think it was like from that they had parts or things sourced from over 25 states to build the train and to build the project. Again, the reason, one of the biggest reasons why I'm a big supporter of building passenger rail systems in this country is the amount of jobs, especially blue-collar jobs, that are desperately needed in this country. And we can see it here now with Spain. Spain's Renfe being an early operator of Texas Central. It's another good thing on top of that. So as you can see, guys, we're moving ahead here. That's the thing.
And I also thought that Renfe is also the one that's gonna run California high-speed rail. So
yeah,
they're doing some interesting business. Also, that's gonna be interesting. Renfe, a Spanish operator running with Japanese trains in Texas. That's gonna be a funky one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there'll be communication between the Japanese and the Spanish. And again, what they're probably going to do is they're setting their base of operations there, but they're probably going to be hiring locally in the area. So it's not that like they're bringing people from Spain to go on board. We'll know if there's people from Spain to go on board because every 1 o'clock in the afternoon, all the trains will stop for a siesta, and they'll stop there for 3 hours. They'll just slow down. Take a long nap, but we'll know. But yeah, they'll have Texans there in the area. That's the thing. So people are talking about what's going on in China. Yeah. So let's bring about let's bring some footage from China. So this was let me see if we can bring that there. But yeah, this is the bullet train. From Zhengzhou to Changsha, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. But look at the metro system. Look at their again. And I've been to plenty of stations, newer stations here in the United States and in Japan. But this is very similar to stations in Japan. It's a very modern station. Again, they've built up a lot of these lines very quickly. Now, again, you can argue the integrity of these systems, whether they're built up correctly, and of course, there's been a lot of infighting between different factions of the CCP, and also a lot of corruption between certain areas. But this, look, they've been able to still build it, right? It's still there. Luckily, this guy did not get eaten by the escalator. But yeah, you can see over here where all that is. Okay, so this is Zhengzhou. This is where right now a lot of the flooding is happening. Beijing is the capital city over there. Tianjin is where they built the first high-speed rail system over there. Tianjin to Beijing. That was back in 2007, 2008. They built that before the Olympics. There's Shanghai over there, Nanjing. Wuhan, everybody knows about Wuhan now. Xi'an, and down over here, down south, you'll find places like Shenzhen and Hong Kong, and of course Taiwan, which is its own country. I don't know how they can keep standing on that, but I don't care. I'm not a Chinese apologist at all. You guys know me on this show. Definitely not a fan of communism in the slightest. That's just me. But anyway, so you can see here where it is, and walking through the station, you guys can see here from. Look at this. I mean, it's a very futuristic, modern looking station. I don't know. I think in this video, yeah, it has like the larger concourse area. But yeah, guys, look, and they have it closed up, so nobody falls onto the tracks or anything like that. Very similar to the Hong Kong system. I have been on the Hong Kong system for a little bit. And they have an app now. It's different than how the Japanese system, how you put your tickets in there. Again, that's going to be different. So when you in Japan, in Tokyo, basically the doors are all open. It's only when you don't put your pass in and you try to pass in without going ahead and paying the fares when the doors, these doors will politely just stop you from coming in. So, it's different. Of course, in New York, getting in is like getting into a prison in the New York subway system. That's all, again, difference in culture, difference in people and customs, etc. So, that's just what it is. That's just the reality. And look at this. Look at this big concourse here. It's insane. It's like an airport.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, New York subway at one point in time was also quite futuristic and the beautiful subway. Now it's just, now it's just awful. If I look at the pictures, it's just...
Oh yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons why it's just hard for me to do a video on this, because we already know where this is going to go, but it's just... It's quite sad seeing how New York used to be the city on the hill. It stood in front of everybody in terms of what a city was supposed to be, and now it's just become ruined. I mean, there's a guy on YouTube. I forgot the guy's name, but he does on videos on right to repair, and he runs his own like iPhone repair shop or something like that in New York. But now he's doing tours of New York in just in the middle of the day and the night and any time of the day. And New York is becoming a ghost city. It's becoming worse than what it looks like in some of those movies like Death Wish or the 1970s. New York has turned back to the bad old times. It's not good. And then you look at places like China, and this is what they're building over there. Now, of course, I mean it's fantastic, but China's also having its issues too with weather and with flooding, as you guys can see. So this was a flooding on the station. So the problem is in China, they tried to pass it off and said there was no issue of flooding. Everybody go to work. Don't talk about the flooding. And people were trapped in the subway. So you can see over here, this wouldn't happen in some other places. Like when there's flooding happening and there's a flood warning and people are told don't go to work or whatever. And this is the reality in China. A lot of people were, trapped onto here. God forbid if you have claustrophobia, you're not going to have a good time if you're in a Chinese subway when it floods. So yeah, what we were just seeing before in the previous video, that futuristic station, the futuristic subways, this is what it's looking like, just recently in the last several days. Pretty awful, pretty terrible. Look at this. It's awful, guys. Nature can be a real bitch sometimes, and sometimes it's not good to go out when this sort of stuff happens. I mean, even in Florida, people criticize Florida for being a place that's dysfunctional, which you got a point. But at least in Florida, when we say there's a hurricane warning, everybody goes inside except for the couple of people who want to go outside and try to surf or, you know, go out with, I don't know if you've seen that video of the guy with the American flag and with the long hair. Yeah, that meme going out in the hurricane. Which, look, I've gone out in hurricanes several times. You know, I was right in the middle of Katrina when it came over us in South Florida. It wasn't a big deal. It was a Category 1, so we just went outside and the eye of the storm was right above us, and we're looking at it like, oh yeah, look at that. Okay, let's go back inside. But you know, and then that, you know, it caught up a lot of strength and did real damage over to the Gulf Coast and to New Orleans. So, yeah, guys, you got to be careful with that. And this is the problem is, and the issue is, you don't just build infrastructure and be like that. And the thing is that when you're a nation and you're building infrastructure, it's for the people first, not for just showing off and saying, you know, look, this is what we, you know, have and all that. But it's also to protect your own people. You got to put the people first, not the party first, which is not just a problem in China, but of course a problem over here in the United States. And this is the issue that we're going to be contending with for a while, but we'll get to it. All right, so let's get off the rails over here for a little bit. I was gonna put together a little stinger for off the rails segment. Let's talk about a little bit of off the rails. First off, Elon Musk and the Boring Company. So Elon Musk's solution basically to everything of our transportation woes here in the United States is build a hole. And dig a large hole, and it will go away. The problem with digging large holes is that if you get stuck in it, it's going to be real hard to get right out of it. Now, of course, you know, I'm being kind of sarcastic and facetious, as I usually am. Instead, one of the times I'm being serious. But in all seriousness, you cannot just go ahead and build tunnels and then drive Teslas through them. That's not... Is it a solution? Yeah, technically, yes. Is it a practical solution? Absolutely not. You can build you build a tunnel for, let's say, for railroads, right? You build a tunnel for subways, which carries a lot more people. So look at this stupidity over here in Las Vegas, and this is a new station, and the elevator is falling apart worse than the ones over in Zhengzhou, where if you step on the wrong place, though, the escalators will eat you. That definitely is a thing in China. I don't know if you guys have seen like some videos over in China where people will lightly step on an area in the escalator just to test to make sure that it's integrally safe and then get on it. But look at it, it's already falling apart over here. You built the tunnel and this is it. Here you go. You got what, a Model, is that a Model X, I think, or Model 3? Yeah, it's got several Model 3s and the Model Ys. Yeah, I think those are Model Ys. Yeah, so here you go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 people. 15 can move in one direction and 15 have moved back. This is... It's silly. It's silly. And this also caused damage to the Las Vegas monorail. Not to say that the Las Vegas monorail is the best thing of all time, but the construction of this caused some integral damage to the Las Vegas monorail. And of course, they put on some neon lights, to make it look synthwave and whatever, because we're never ever leaving the 80s retro wave era. We are forever stuck in that apparently for the last 15 years or so. So yeah, this is a problem. But even now, CNBC is again kind of bashing Elon Musk here. Is how silly this is. Ruben, you want to add on to this?
I mean, I have a good way to test those tunnels. Just put one car into the tunnel and that simulates a tunnel fire, and let's see how fast evacuation goes, and in what timely manner people can write a farewell note to their family and make sure the fire is put out before the papers are burned up and people are completely charcoal. Yeah. I may be a little bit cynical about this entire tunnel ordeal, but I mean, it's a good way to emulate the Ghostbusters 2 slime tunnel thing. That's really what it's reminding me of. So yeah, I would say if Elon Musk wants to make a new retro wave crematorium or slime tunnel, I would say he is very good at doing that. If you want to make a transportation solution, then he should just stick to making maybe a streetcar, maybe metro. Just bring on the retro wave metro. Everyone wants it. Just be cool. Make that.
If you could have a station like that, similar to what they have over in China. I mean, China's basically living cyberpunk, and over here we're living I don't know what, but it's not cool either way. But I mean, look, the size of the station over here. Let's say this wasn't Las Vegas, right? Because Las Vegas has. I don't know the efficacy of having something like this in Las Vegas if it's really going to move as many people as it is on the Strip. Definitely once, let's say, Brightline West gets over there, if it becomes more of a culture to walk around Las Vegas instead of renting a car, then maybe that becomes something to expand upon in Las Vegas. But let's say this was all built out, right? And Las Vegas was a much more metro-friendly area where you could be able to have passenger rail or some sort of metro rail tunnel, right? This is more very much the size of what you could have standard gauge rail over here. Probably have to expand the tunnel because that's too small of a tunnel for sure. And I don't even know if, let's say, one of these Teslas gets stuck, as you were saying, they have a little bit of an issue, or it's a day of the week that ends in Y and they combust or something like that. You're gonna be stuck in there, and I don't think you can really get the doors out in some of these areas. I mean, I've driven Teslas. They're comfortable. They're nice. You have some space to get out of there. It's like being parked next to pretty squeezed cars, but it's an issue because this could be better used for a train station. We were just looking at videos of train stations like they have over in China, and again, if you look at this, it's not that different in terms of the aesthetics, but look at the space over here. This is the Chinese rail station. Again, you have it blocked off over here, very similar in a lot of stations and places in Asia. Very much a lot more of a walkable space over here. You have the maps over here. I guess this is a sort of loop system that they have over in Zhengzhou. But yeah, you can have that, or you can have this stupidity, guys. Choose wisely, American. What would you want? You can have this. Have high capacity, safe rail system, or have experimental spaceman fever dream. Yeah, electric car crematorium. And again, it's not bashing electric cars. Again, when a Tesla has an accident or something like that, it becomes big news because it's a Tesla. Cars combust not very easily, but cars combust every day. Believe me, I know. I have a car of mine that burst into flames. Not technically my fault, but okay, anyway. But this is, again, the issue is that, and the thing is that this is kind of a GM issue because GM has always had issues with its quality control. But, I mean, look at this. GM says these precautions aim to minimize the risk of fire of some 50,000 Chevrolet Bolt EVs it already recalled in November. Now, if you're buying an electric car from GM in the year 2021, God bless your intelligence, because I don't know why you're doing that. And for the same price, you can probably just get... if you want an electric car, you get a Tesla, right? I don't see why you would get anything else. I mean, unless you want to get a hybrid car. Yeah, sure, but this is just silly. For the same space. In fact, this probably looks a little bit larger. I don't know if maybe that's the lens that's making this look larger. But it's just ridiculous that you have... this is acceptable in American culture, that Las Vegas would go ahead and greenlight this very easily without much... because there wasn't much NIMBYism against this. Again, it was in the metropolitan area. But this is easier to build than this in the United States. And that's a problem, guys. That's something we really need to be able to not only understand and cope with, but to be able to fight back against, because this is going to keep the same issues going, and we're just going to be pushing it over and over and over again. So again, Musk founded the Boring Company in 2017. He was showing off, and the thing is that the cars in the Boring Company in Las Vegas go only 50 miles an hour instead of 150 that Musk was envisioning for them to go. And he's also pushed the same sort of BS over in places like Chicago, where they want to get the airport over there in Chicago and connect it with a similar sort of system over to Chicago proper. This is the type of problems that, again, it's not just there in Chicago, but now over in Miami, where you have Francis Suarez, the mayor of the city of Miami, who's now even flirting with the idea of having this to go underneath Biscayne Bay. If you guys are not familiar with South Florida, so you have Miami and Miami Beach. Miami Beach is basically a key that's about several miles off the, like 2 or 3 miles off the mainland of the Florida Peninsula, and that's a little stretch of land there. So to connect that in between with this is what people will take. Since the 1980s, there's been at least plans to either connect Miami Beach either with some sort of train or monorail, or expanding the Metro Rail or something to go ahead and connect that. And this could be a solution that the mayor of Miami now wants to go ahead and think that this would be something that would be good there. And look at this. The Las Vegas Convention Center Loop opened to the public in June. The 1.7-mile stretch of underground road cost the convention authority $52 million. It doesn't say how much the Boring Company paid for this. They got $120 million of funding. Again, there's a lot more to look at this here. $52 million that the convention authority had to pay. It took the Boring Company about 18 months to complete. It marked the company's first completed public project, but many of its other proposed projects have hit dead ends. So again, here you go. Cities such as Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Florida seem eager to partner with the Boring Company. So we've spoken with the Boring Company about building a 2.2-mile tunnel from a railroad station called the Brightline Station. This it seems that the Mayor Dean Trentalis is not too familiar with Brightline, so he called the Brightline Station. You can already tell he's not called. He doesn't know what it really is. You can just imagine him speaking. It's like, look at this. We have now spoken with the Boring Company about building a 2.2-mile tunnel from our railroad station called the Brightline Station, which is in the middle of the city all the way to the beach. Fort Lauderdale Mayor Dean Trentalis told CNBC. And it would be 2 tunnels, one going east, one going west. It's silly. And they think that it's going to cost 10 to 15 million per mile, including the cost of the stations. That's far under what that would actually cost to dig underneath there with everything. And again, the problem really with this is that it's silly. Logically, it makes no sense compared to the other issues and the other things that we have. All right, and then there's another article over here, 8 things to know about the Vegas tunnel. Again, the convention, it was funded by the Las Vegas Convention. It cost about $52.5 million. Transports about 4,000 people per hour, which is not that much. Again, several trains can take that within 10 minutes. That's not a big deal. And it's less than a mile. So this is 0.8 miles, right? Let's divide that by 2. It took about $25 million per mile to build that. To build just the tunnel. And then throw some Teslas in there, guys. $25 million per mile for this. This is what you get in the United States for $25 million per mile. Where meanwhile, in Europe, they're building full-on rail projects for less than $15 million per mile. And tunnels for about, what do you say, Ruben? About for like the same price? a little bit more expensive than this because, again, they're adding all the whole infrastructure. They're not just building a tunnel and putting a Tesla in there.
No. Tunnels is a bit more expensive, but we got rails and everything attached to it. So
yeah.
Public transportation, how we build is pretty simple. We just build it. We just rebuild the entire street, so we get everything done at once, which also pushes down construction costs in the end. So we just build it. That's the thing. We build it and we plan it out and we build it. That's the entire track behind it.
Yeah. And this is silly, and this is why we need to be more vocal about this, guys. When things like this happen in your community, yeah, lambast it, bully it, talk about it. That it's stupid. You have to be really on par with that because a lot of these politicians don't get any other words. You show them what other places have, and you say, look, the rest of the world is laughing at us. This is our solution to our lagging transportation problems that have been bringing this country down and anchoring it down. This is what you want to say is going to save everybody, and you're going to get to work in this, or you're going to go around the city in this. It's ridiculous. Cars are currently staffed with drivers, but in the future will be self-driving. So they have to pay a driver to drive into this tunnel over here. So look at this. You can see over here a video over here. Look at that. Whoa, whoop-de-doo, synthwave. Yeah, you can put on synthwave music for that too. Here, we'll complete that. Let's go ahead and put some on. This is so silly. There you go. Here. You can have Elon Musk's fever dream here. There you go. You got some. Radical! Woo! Yeah! Future! Look at that! Wow! Whoop-de-doo in a tunnel. Well, I hope you guys don't have any. If you're not prone to seizures, hopefully, because you'll be you'll definitely be having a ride. Trust me, you'll be definitely having a wild ride in there. It's just this is unbelievable. Oh man! So they have to pay a driver to. Okay, so the Tesla Model 3 holds 5 people, right? So they're taking 4 people, and you have to pay a driver what maybe at Las Vegas rates what minimum $17 an hour or something like that. This is stupid. I mean, unbelievable. All right, I'm getting tired of this. I really am.
Talk about the future. I've seen a comment. Well, I've seen 16 comments about it. This guy asking about the Chinese maglev thing. Have you read about that?
Yeah, I've seen several Chinese maglev projects. You have the more metro maglev project, the Changsha maglev, which is pretty similar to the Lanimo maglev that they were testing out in Japan. They have that running there, which was an Expo line. And similar to what the American maglev technology was proposing. Yeah, that's definitely a system that can be done here. They've had maglevs like more low-speed maglevs, not high-speed maglevs, in a lot of places now in Asia. You have one in Korea as well, in South Korea, the Incheon maglev. And of course, you have the maglev from the Shanghai airport, the German Transrapid. So you have that sort of system. And of course, now China's making its own sort of maglev, which they probably took off a lot of reverse engineering from the Transrapid, and some probably from the SC maglev that they've been looking at. It's not at this point. The research has been out there for a long time, and it's not that hard to be able to make something like that. And of course, Japan has been testing out their SC maglev system Which, if you want to talk about things that have not aged well, with the Olympics going on right now, which is looking to be a disaster. Of course, like, you have 90% of Japan is against the Olympics at this point for a number of different reasons. But yeah, you don't have the public viewing that we all thought was going to happen in 2020 were it not for the coup happening. But here's the thing, guys. Especially when it comes to technology in the future, I've been talking about this for months now, and it seems all of a sudden that the news now all of a sudden just a whole slew of articles within the last 2 weeks about the chip shortage. And I've been talking about the chip shortage for a while now. The reason why we're having a chip shortage is, A, we have way too much demand of electronics and not enough places that actually build it. Most of the chips and semiconductors they use come from Taiwan and are manufactured there. But after the pandemic, it really put a big strain because everything shut down for several months. And what happened was now you have a big push for that. Now, this has been happening before. This is the reason why you couldn't get your... This is a relatable issue for a lot of us and our younger generation. The reason why you could not get PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series 1, X1 Series, whatever the hell... Xbox and Microsoft can't figure out their names, so I'm not going to even mention it. The reason why you couldn't get a PlayStation 5 was because of the chip shortage. This has been happening for years. It's been exacerbated even further because of the pandemic. Whatever you want to blame the pandemic on, it still caused a shutdown of manufacturing. Now even causing a shutdown of manufacturing within the automobile sector. So again, TSMC, which is a Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, which is the world's largest contract chip maker. So it doesn't matter if you're using Intel or AMD or a lot of them. They make all the chips for everybody, whether in your phone, your PlayStation, in your laptop, and your computers. Okay, now all of this is using chips that most likely come from Taiwan. The problem with this is that why is it a big deal in transportation? Well, you have now GM shutting down its pickup production for a week. You have BMW stopping the production of 10,000 cars because of the chip shortage. And I definitely guarantee you that it's not going to be as much of a big deal in the train space as much because, again, you don't need as many chips for one large train. Okay, it's about the same number of chips and semiconductors as probably a car gets, right? Because a car is one vehicle. A train, no matter as large as it is one large vehicle. So probably that will help in the demand of trains, but it's definitely going to hit the infrastructure space hard. It's hitting every space of the world hard. So look at this. The Munich-based company, this is BMW. Bavarian Motor Works. I'm not going to try to pronounce the German because my German is awful. But Ruben, you can definitely get you can have a go at that. The Munich-based company earlier this month said that the bottleneck, which has affected car makers around the world, has already led to 30,000 vehicles in lost production so far this year. And of course, even in the computer space, you have from Hackaday over here. People are just going to be making their own, CNC controllers and chips and other stuff, probably repurposing old boards and graphics chips and stuff like that to go ahead and make their own homebrew stuff. And it's not just, you can get a Raspberry Pi and do that, but, using an older chipset to go ahead and do that. So, yeah, this is the world is getting more chaotic in a sense, right, guys?
Just imagine your Texas Instrument powered BMW.
Yeah. Yeah, and now, at least here in the United States, at least the good thing is that for some reason it caught the Senate and everybody else on guard, and they pushed the bill out and signed it so they can open up a whole bunch of chip manufacturers here in the United States. I don't know how that's really going to pan out. Knowing how anything like that pans out in the United States is usually half-assed and it never gets done as well. Like a lot of this solar production that was passed under the Obama administration. Of course, everybody knows Solyndra and the controversy behind that. but the Obama administration really pushed ahead to make it that we would be the #1 producer of solar cells and solar panels in the world. And 10 years later, that's all in China. All those companies either moved to China or sold off to Chinese investors, and that's it. So, I mean, where the United States stands there, we really need a lot to fix there. It really is a mess. So let's have our last round of callers on board, and then we will go ahead and call it a night. Again, if you're in the audience and you would like to talk, go ahead on the icon near the bottom of there and raise your hand so you can be able to be brought on board. I cannot bring you on. If you want to be on board, to come onto the audience and opine, if you do not raise your hand. If not, if you want to be in the audience and just listen, by all means, you're more than welcome to do that. Let me see some other comments over here. Demetrius, what about the recent announcements of China's recent maglev developments earlier this week? Yeah, it's very much the same as the other articles we brought about the Chinese maglev. It definitely does deserve its own episode. And I've been neglecting to do a lot of episodes, but definitely an episode on Chinese high-speed rail development is very much far up there in the top 5 or 3. All right, so Iowa Rail fan, you are on board. Welcome aboard.
You guys want? Can we talk about football? American kind of style.
Can we talk about football? I don't know if we want to get ourselves distracted real quickly.
It's the Big 12.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been following football for a long time. Especially, I've never been a college football fan either. So, I mean, that's just me.
Texas and Oklahoma just said they're going to leave the Big 12.
Oh, that's a big deal.
That's a big bump because that puts the Big 12 out of business.
So it's the Big 10 now.
Yeah, basically. So now the teams they're playing one last season, and the teams are going to find another league to play on.
Jeez. Oh man. Anyway. What else is up, man?
So, like the Tesla thing, the Tesla tunnels. We all know if it involves Tesla, it's just gonna go south.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily mean it's gonna go south. I mean, look, I would kind of see this as another one of Elon Musk's pet projects, very similar to the Hyperloop. I mean, the Boring Company came out of the whole Hyperloop thing. The thing is, like
Hyperloop.
Yeah.
The idea of going from New York to LA, it's kind of that didn't go very well and was canceled.
Yeah. Now, of course, it's just pie in the sky dream. Yeah. I mean, just looking at this, it's not as cracked up as it's going to be. It's not even a station at the other end. This goes up at a station that's up on outside. It's basically just a roundabout little parking lot over here that they have. If you're looking on the screen, it's all very silly. It's another big, large billionaire pet project, very similar to now that they're all sending themselves into space, like Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson.
A little rocket the Amazon owner just sent up to space.
Yeah. You're welcome, Jeff Bezos, for all the money that we've given to you in Amazon for Prime memberships and whatnot. Anyway, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But anything else you wanted to share on that? Go ahead.
What happens when everybody else owns a Tesla?
Yeah.
They'll probably become useless.
Oh yeah,
They'll all be crowded with Tesla owners.
Yeah, and the thing is that Elon Musk. I really don't know if he knows this or not, or if he's just ignoring it. But there's been enough studies done to show that even if you have more autonomous cars, it actually makes traffic worse because you're not solving the issue of taking one person out of a 5-seat car and putting them in another place that makes more sense, like a train that takes more capacity. Mm-hmm. It
works.
Yeah, it is induced
just like when they
induced traffic. Yeah.
Like when they built the interstate system, thinking it would benefit the future, and now we look today, it's like, well, what have we done?
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't know it was flashing as many colors as it does here. I have to put on my glasses because the future is bright and not in the brightness that I was thinking it was going to be. At least here. Oh man, I hope anybody with any seizure syndrome doesn't go on this thing because it looks like a mess. But yeah, that's the thing. These red herring distraction projects or these little pod projects or anything else is not solving the issue that you need to move a large amount of people in shorter amounts of time in a safe, efficient, and effective manner.
We need to take Amtrak off. Amtrak needs to come off the for-profit company and be its own separate company, and then they could own all the tracks. Because the U.S. government could just take them all.
Yeah.
Now you have to deal to us.
Again, that becomes a whole different issue because we're talking about how the government works, and the United States government doesn't work in a way that will be able to be functional. In other countries, maybe, and again, I'm not saying that we should be a Chinese Communist Party at all.
No, please, no.
Yeah, that's got a lot of its bigger issues. Of course, we have our own issues too, but again, that's a whole political matter, and that's something I don't want to bring onto the show. We're just trying to keep it onto infrastructure. All I can say is that you need a much different type of government structure in order to be able to have state-run transportation companies that actually work. And
that's what we kind of need more of in this world.
Yeah. Hey, look. I mean, something I can say is that a lot of this generation, you, me, Ruben, and everybody else over here, we are sick and tired of the two-party dichotomy, and we know that this doesn't work anymore. What the solution is, that's up for debate. That's up to whatever spats or whatever this country is going to, but that's not for me to talk on this show. That's all I can say.
Let's not dig into that.
Yeah. But anyway, anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm just to be respectful. I'm going to let everybody, other people talk.
Oh, definitely. I thank you for coming on board, Iowa Rail fan. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right, take care.
Ciao.
Okay, so we have next El Rapido, and if anybody else wants to speak, last chance to come up and speak. Please have your hand up in the audience, and then we will look at the comments and end it. Hello, Rapido, you are on.
Hello, you guys hear me?
We can hear you. You're kind of breaking in and out there.
Oh, sorry. I'm using this push to talk thing on Discord, so.
Okay, yeah, that can sometimes work well and sometimes not. So, but yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. I
just have some
talk about the.
Go ahead. You just had some background noise.
What?
You just had some background noise there. Not to worry.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna talk about Elon Musk's idea for a Tesla tunnel from O'Hare to Chicago.
Yeah.
Like, I was wondering where would it exactly go. Like, yeah, I think their idea would be the Kennedy Expressway, but there's already like a lot of infrastructure there to like support it. Like, you have I-90, which already does that, and you also have the Blue Line there, which I think is a better alternative to get to Chicago than like taking a car.
Yeah, I don't get where they're coming up with this. Again, if anything, they could just expand the Blue Line and the Chicago L train to just make it better. That would be a much more efficient use of funding. I don't know why this has become a thing.
I think a better solution to this was like to add express trains on the Blue Line, so like you can go like directly to like the center area rather than just have like stop at all the stations along the way. I mean, there's not much from O'Hare to Jefferson Park.
Right.
Most like it's newly built actually.
Yeah. And again, I think the one of the reasons why it became a thing. Again, I got to retract my last statement, which saying I don't know why this happened. I do know why this happened. Elon Musk did give a lot of money to Rahm Emanuel's re-election campaign as mayor of Chicago, and that was the only reason why it was actually brought up more and more, because he was really trying to push this to come out. I think it was around like $50,000 or something that he donated in certain ways to Rahm Emanuel. I'm not quite sure. I don't even know if he's donated any money to Lori Lightfoot, but I don't know.
Yeah, let's just say didn't age well for Rahm Emanuel, and I don't know what Lori Lake.
Oh yeah.
Any transportation, anything at all.
Yeah, she's not really that big on transportation. Yeah, she's distracted by a whole bunch of other things, and Chicago is paying the price dearly for that, which is sad. I mean, Chicago is a beautiful city architecturally.
And I mean, like, we've retained a lot of our old infrastructure, like especially like the Chicago L.
Yeah,
like,
and
we
it's
still have like a large system in place, but like we've also lost like a lot of the system though. Although some of it was kind of like wasn't even worth it though.
Yeah, because they pushed up and built a lot of it. I mean, I skimmed a little bit through the L's history. I probably should have done a lot more research into it for as many times as I've gone to Chicago. But I mean, it's quite sad that it's not as built up as it used to be, nor lasted as long in some areas. It really is more of a fact that you had this Chicago really wanted to beat New York in some ways, and the L made sense. It's just a lot harder to build underneath in Chicago because it's just way too expensive in that area. Can it be done? Yeah, can it be done for a lot less of a price? Yeah, but it's Chicago.
Like, especially considering the fact how like there's not a lot of underground infrastructure below it. Like you have like the State Street and Dearborn subway, and I think you have a small section of subway like outside Chicago. But like other than that, like I'm not so sure what's like the like how it's like underneath Chicago, like how the rocks are down there, like can it support structures? But I'm assuming it's not that good because like we don't have much.
Yeah, I mean even along the river, you still have some roads there and stuff. I mean not underground, but I mean it's definitely underneath the raised areas where a lot of the other road is along the river. I mean it's Chicago's a whole other mess in itself, and it just goes to show that really a lot of the issues that stem on our American infrastructure issues really stem from political issues, and really just getting a lot of priorities set.
Like, speaking of political issues, though, because like the only reason why the Tesla tunnel is like getting like some publicity is kind of like it's sort of like something that like brings people's attention. Like it's something people want to see.
Oh yeah, I mean look at it just from here. It catches your eye. It's flashy. You have Elon Musk, who everybody thinks is Tony Stark. It's of course it catches the media's attention, and I brought that to attention.
The thing is like people like rather like go in their cars like to drive around because like it's mostly a thing that we've accommodated to ever since like the 50s and 60s. Right?
Yeah.
Well, like. I've been thinking like what kind of solution we can have to this because like working like we can transport lots of people but like also like let them have the comfortability of having a car and like there's a few stations that the CTA have where it's like a park and ride where you can basically just park into the station and just take the train from a suburb or like just further out from the city instead of like crowding the roads.
Yeah, there's a lot of at this point in the American infrastructure system and our driving culture, there's a lot that's going to have to be done in sort of easing out. At least granted, our generation is a lot more adverse to driving and doesn't enjoy it as much as, let's say, the boomer generation, because they grew up on just driving around, and we grew up on, at least some of us grew up with the internet or grew up with the internet coming about. And seeing what everyone else is doing and saying, yeah, this doesn't really work as well. And, we're seeing what's going on in other countries from just traveling or just seeing how messed up our systems work. We want what they have, and we had it before when we look up the reality of our system, and we sort of take the red pill of America's infrastructure system. We did have this before. It was destroyed, and it was destroyed on purpose. For another solution that did not hold up, and it's not holding up, and we're paying the price for that. So I mean, the solution to that is, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, because like I was looking into the L's history as well. Like I noticed like the newly built extensions and lines, like the one, especially the extension from Jefferson Park to O'Hare, that was built in the 1980s, and like they knew what was going on with the culture in terms of like commuting. So like most of the stations there are parking rides. Same thing with the Orange Line actually as well. Like a majority of stations there were also parking rides, mostly because it was built later in the 90s. But they kind of recognized like it's like it's popular to drive now, so like they thought of taking advantage of like the system where like you can drive to the station and then just get on the train there.
Yeah, you had a bit of a push that happened in the 80s in terms of infrastructure. The same thing happened in Miami and other places. New York cleaned up their subway and other things in the 80s and 90s. And a lot of it was either from boomers that were repentant of what they did. A lot of yuppie boomers at that time, which are about, a little bit older or the same age that we are now in the 80s and 90s. They were repentant about what happened, so they were trying to, figure out at least a better way to get around. Or they're living in the city and they understand that, they finally figured out maybe a car isn't the best way to get around in the city, especially with a whole lot of them moving to work. It's really, sort of coming to senses with the environment around you and figuring out that, wait a second, there's a better solution. And it's not being stuck in a cage for hours on end to move one person or two bodies down, several miles. There's better solutions.
Yeah, I mean, for Chicago, what would be a great solution for Chicago? Bring back the CSL.
Oh yeah, Chicago Service Lines. Yeah, they had a huge system back in the day. Like, well, a majority of the streets were streetcar lined.
Yeah.
And it mostly got replaced by buses, though.
Yeah, a lot of that happened in a whole bunch of cities. I mean, Indianapolis had a massive streetcar system, a whole bunch of other places. I mean, you have some places now in the Midwest that are bringing it back. Of course, Milwaukee and Cincinnati. But of course, they're nowhere near as efficient as they were back in the day.
I think that now the oldest streetcar network in the Midwest is the loop in Kenosha.
Yeah, I think it's the oldest one, the Kenosha Loop.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, and then again, you had smaller cities like that had that, or they had interurbans that connected. I mean, even like in places like Indianapolis, they connected with other places that were further away, or 50. You had interurbans that went 50 or 75 miles away to go ahead and connect, and these would be filled up in large events like the Indy 500 or something like that. This is what Americans used to do. They used to go ahead and take a train. This whole thing of going by car as the American dream is in reality the American nightmare, and we've been sold a bucket of lies.
Yeah, like I remember, like Chicago had had the North Shore line basically, and like it was sort of like the South Shore line, but like it ran north to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
It also ran on like portions of like the current L from Howard and down on where's now the Green Line, down to Jackson Park, where I think the South Side Elevated built a station there because in 1893 they had like a World Fair there, so they took advantage of it.
Yeah, I thought like the Skookie Swift is the last remnant of the North Shore line.
Yeah. It's just a mess. But I mean, at least we're talking about these things, and we're seeing some movement in other places, like in Florida. But again, it's not to say that the day is saved and that's it. I mean, we have this to contend with the these boring company loops and everything. So it's definitely gonna be. It's not a boring future. That's at least one thing we can say for certain, 100% certainty. It won't be boring. Whether that's a good thing or bad thing, we'll find out when we get there, right? But anyway, thank you for coming up on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Is it okay if I plug my YouTube channel? No.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so my YouTube channel is the Chicago Rail Fan. Yeah, I know. So currently, I'm currently doing a video series on like the CT, on like former Chicago L lines that ran in, and like I show like the abandoned routes and stations that were there. Most of them are currently demolished.
Yeah. All right, I definitely gotta check that out, man.
The history of it. Yeah. It's on Discord as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that out so people can see it over here. Chicago Rail Fan, so you guys can see on YouTube. I have seen some of your videos on there. Yeah. Definitely Chicago does need it, because I mean it is the center of the Midwest, so it's a big deal that it gets that done. But thank you for coming on board, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. So, yep, I think that's it. There's nobody else in the audience that has their hands up, so we're going to call it a night over here. Let's go ahead and check out some of the comments, and then we'll go ahead and call it a night there. So, yeah, we finally have a sub 2-hour stream here, guys. Comfortably under 2 hours. So any questions in the comments or anything you guys want to say in the comments, let it be known now. If Al Bundy could see Chicago now, that is a, oh man, it is a mess. And Chicago's always had, it's called the Windy City because of its politicians, not because of the wind. Although it does get pretty hot over there and pretty windy from the lakes. The last time I was there was 2 summers ago, and I was going around on a bike. One of those rental bikes at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, that was a big deal. That's like 35 degrees communist. I mean Celsius.
I'm gonna remember this, boy. I'm gonna remember this.
You and your Eurobabble. I mean, it's not actually wrong to say, because I mean, wasn't Celsius invented by the French after the Revolution? Basically the proto-communists there. I don't know. It's what it is. I mean, hey, Fahrenheit and our system doesn't make any sense half the time. I mean, you get 12 feet, 12 inches to make a foot, and then 5,000 whatever feet to make a mile. Yeah, of course, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you can say what you want. You can call us communists, but at least we're not feed lovers.
Not what?
Not feed lovers.
Oh no, I've never been one of those. That's some other creature.
No, you're still counting in miles and feet, boy.
Oh, feet. Yeah, I guess so. Oh man. Brutus Tan the Third, love the show. Demetrius again. Maglev could be a good future topic video. Definitely. I mean, I have made a Maglev video. It's an older video, but definitely we need to step up on our Maglev thing. Julius Mabunda, please review African trains. Yeah, we can definitely look at some of those. I mean, I know like China's been building a whole lot of infrastructure there. I know South Africa used to have an extensive rail network. Yeah. Johan Imperial crash into Mars units. Yeah, everybody remembers that one because one team wanted to work on Metric, one team wanted to work on Imperial, and that didn't work well. But hey, at least we got to the moon before. Not that we're ever going to get back to the moon at this rate. Yeah, they later made Celsius based on water boiling and freezing. Yeah, Fahrenheit was just basically made by several British scientists, and they said, "Yep, this is it." And us and 2 other countries are using it. I think Myanmar and Liberia, Myanmar, Burma, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I don't no clue why they're using it, but yeah. I mean, we still use some things metric over here. It's not that hard for some of us. For some of us, at least. What do you think of the new Ford Maverick truck coming out? Is that the smaller Ford electric truck or hybrid truck? I think I saw it. Yeah.
Quickly googling that thing.
Yeah. Let me look that up.
Oh no, it has the same suck issue as BMW.
What do you mean?
Look at the vents.
Oh.
It's just massive air suck.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know why they're taking the Maverick. I mean, the Maverick used to be a sedan. I don't know why they're changing it into a truck. That's like what Mitsubishi did with the Eclipse. They turned it into a... They done my boy wrong. They turned the Eclipse into a crossover. How terrible. Yeah, is this the Ford Maverick? It's basically a small, economical truck starting at $21,000. That's a hybrid or whatnot. I mean, it's not bad, but I mean, the problem is, again, you run into the same problem is that everybody is just using a truck, and it's like, well, it's just one person in a truck. And we've seen the results in the studies. 70% of people don't even actually use their truck bed once in a year. 70%. The majority of truck owners don't use what the trucks are actually meant to do. Pick up trucks. That truck bed in the back, yeah, that does something, folks. It actually is meant to carry items and carry things. You don't even use it. So what was the whole point of getting a truck to begin with? Yeah, I mean,
whoever gets in neighborhoods.
I don't know. I mean, it's more of an American thing. It's like you want to have a truck just to have it. Look, it's got its utility. Definitely you use it if you're working or if you're doing something or if you need to get over land and other things like that, or it's 4x4 ability to get in mud and stuff. But and most people, I mean, come on. I mean, it's even a joke that people go ahead and lift their trucks and put on, large rims and stuff like that and street rims just to show off. And it really is more of just a thing just to have. How many seats does a minibus have? Are we thinking of trying to put minibuses in the Tesla Loops afterwards? I don't know. What, you're going to take like a Mercedes or Dodge Sprinter and put it, Mercedes Sprinter now because Dodge is under Stellantis, whatever that mess is that's gonna fall apart soon. Yeah, if you guys check out Chicago Railfans channel. He does have some good stuff on there. I have seen his stuff. What is better for carrying passengers in suburbs? Passenger vans, public buses, minibuses? That all depends. Honestly, the suburbs are just a mess. There shouldn't be suburbs to begin with. That's a trick. The suburbs. It shouldn't have. We shouldn't be having suburbs. It's unnatural. Nobody in history really used suburbs. There's a clear, fine line between what's rural and what's urban. When you try mixing the two together, the results are not good. We've seen it here before.
Physical removal of suburbs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you gotta get rid of suburbs, and it doesn't mean urbanizing suburbs. It means ruralizing suburbs. You want to live in a city, then go live in a city. You want to live rural, then go live rural. It's not if you want to live on the outskirts of a city, that's a whole different deal. The minute you start making everything suburb, you start creating sprawl, and this is what starts the ball rolling for the demand for more automobiles.
Beautiful Los Angeles.
Oh man, no, that's a mess. I mean, Los Angeles now. I mean, how many people are leaving Los Angeles because of the increase in homeless rates and everything? It really is an American mess. But I mean, can it be fixed? Yeah. But honestly, guys, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Let's be honest about that. At least in most areas. I mean, some places it's gonna get better, like in Florida, like in Texas. But in most areas of the United States, it's gonna get worse. Car-dependent suburbs made the Karen, obesity, and anxious kids. No, that's part of it. Yeah. I would say it's a whole moral thing. The whole Karen thing. I mean, that was an older term. I don't know how the heck it got appropriated for that. I mean, we used to call people in minibuses driving 50 miles an hour in the fast lane Karens. All right. Okay, guys, I think we're going to call it ended there. But yeah, this is a shorter stream there, and we've gotten down to 9:59 p.m., so exactly 2 hours. So thank you all, and thank you, Ruben, for coming on again. We've been missing you sorely. So
if you miss me, aim better.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Of course, thank you, everyone, for coming on board on this wild ride. It is your host and conductor, Demetrius Villa, and engineer, Ruben, and we wish you all a good night. Take care.
Bye, man. Bye, people. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Get strong, work away, work away.